Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Luton match review. So Sunderland did get themselves a late equaliser to get themselves a point at the stage of light yesterday against Luton in what was a bit of a snowfest, I won't lie to you. It wasn't a great game. It wasn't a particularly exciting game from both sides, from perspectives of both teams. It wasn't a great sort of performance. I don't think neither side really played badly, but they just didn't quite, get any momentum amongst themselves, and it just didn't quite gel so much yesterday. I think at the end of the day, I think it probably was a fair result. I know a lot of Luton fans will disagree in the manner in which they conceded the equaliser so late on, which I agree with, by the way, and I'll get onto that. But I think in terms of the gameplay itself and the performance of both sides, I think it probably was just about a fair result. I think I would have felt slightly unfortunate to come away with a defeat. But we'll get into the game. We did go unchanged from the defeat against Sheffield United with Patterson in goal, with 09 at left back, Trey Hume right back, Ballard and Bart the centre backs, of course, Mishu and Daniel in the middle, and then we had Barr, we had Clark, Roberts, and behind Gelhardt. So getting into the game, first off, it wasn't a great showing, from both sides. I think we were just cancelling each other out a little bit. At first they had a pretty decent press, but that press seemed to disappear for about 10 minutes. They allowed us a bit of possession. We made a couple of half chances here and there. Clark was absolutely tearing their right back a new one at times, absolutely, just doing circles around him, which was frustrating because there were times where he'd take him on and then say putting the ball in the box, he'd put his foot on the ball, wait for him to get back in position, but then he'd take him on again, and he did it a good handful of times in that first half. And one of those times, he actually eventually, after taking him on 3 times, cut back and set the ball back for Daniel on the edge of the box. He tried to put it in the top right-hand corner and it balloons off the post. So that was a really, really good chance. They had a couple of half chances as well. But I'd say, we maybe just about shaded that first half. But what I did come to the conclusion of, and I said it pretty much at half time on social media, Gelhardt, for me, I think we just need to put our hands up and say, I've alluded to it in other videos, but he doesn't suit the system we play. He can't play as a lone striker. I'm not convinced he is just a full-on striker. He is someone who I think needs to play off someone else if there's someone or a team plays with 2 up top. Because for the majority of games he plays in, particularly yesterday, it felt like we're playing with 10 men. Because we want him to do so well. And this isn't his fault, by the way. This isn't me saying I think he's a poor player. I don't think he's a poor player. I think there's something in there. There's something in him. He don't play for, at least for a reason. He hasn't bagged certain goals here and there for a reason. There's a reasoning behind all that, and he is highly sought after for a reason, but he's just playing in a system with us where it doesn't suit him, and because we want him to do so well, as I say, we really just cling on to straws, and we really hype up anything he does, the tiniest thing, and say, oh, but he presses really well, though. He does a bit at times. Oh, but he comes deeper and he flicks the ball on. He does sometimes, and I won't lie, half the time he passes it to the wrong player, and it's hopefully goes straight out of play, and he misses his target. And he's not a sort of number 9 hold-up player. He's not. He does have a bit of strength about him, but half the time he's losing out in aerial encounters, aerial duels, which again isn't his game, but that's all he's getting. And he's having to come deep for it. And because he's coming so deep to collect the ball, because he's doing nothing up there, but if he does manage to pick it up and he flicks it on, when we're trying to break, there's no one up top. Most of our attacks, Gelhardt is behind the play because he's had to do that, which again isn't necessarily his fault, but we need to stop trying to shoehorn him into the starting 11 now because he's known as a striker. It's stubbornness now, this from Tony Mowbray, because, or at least if it continues or he continues to start him, I find it just pure stubbornness. Yeah, I'm all for giving that a chance, but we've been given chances, and it is like we're starting off with a man sent off, as harsh as that sounds, because I was screaming for it, for him to come off at half-time. They get the goal, second half, they have a free kick on the right-hand side. They work it in to the edge of the box, and it's fizzed through quite a few players. And don't get me wrong, just before this, Anthony Patterson made a brilliant save. Fair play to him. I'm going to get onto Anthony Patterson as well shortly, maybe after I've finished the sort of roundup of the game, because I'm going to go on a little bit of it, possibly a bit of a rant. Not in a negative way, so hold your horses a bit. Not necessarily a negative way about Anthony Patterson, because I'm not going to. Because he did make a cracking save, right? Great save. They worked it down the left, pinged it to the bottom right, and he's made a fantastic save, and Luke O'Nien clears away. A couple of minutes later, they have this free kick I just mentioned. Working into the centre, hits it, it fizzes through a body of players, and yes, I 100% get it that Anthony Patterson, he will have been onside a little bit, it may have even taken a nick, but let's call a spade a spade. It went right at him, and he slapped the ball in between his legs, and it's hit the back of the net. I know, yeah, granted, it's poor goalkeeping, regardless of whether it is slightly unsighted. He should be doing an awful lot better. Let's just say what it is. He should have done an awful lot better. I like Anthony Patterson. I think he's a good keeper. I think he's a decent keeper. But that was poor goalkeeping. I'll say when he's made a mistake, I'll give him credit when he's done something good. That's it. I'll get onto that in a bit later on as well about Anthony Patterson, as I say. But then getting into the game, as soon as that went in, I feel like we were excellent. Because what happened was we brought Gelhardt off. Again, not digging him out, but when you put someone like, we put Burnett on, Gooch on, Diallo come on, even if it is, we don't have a natural striker up there. We've played without strikers all season for the majority, and we've managed to see out games or get points and results that you might not expect us to because we're in the strike from the pitch. But as soon as Burnett come on and Gelhardt come off, it completely changed the dynamic of the game. I think we quadrupled the amount of shots we'd had in the game entirely within like 5 minutes of Gelhardt coming off. Because that whole area where Gelhardt was in, nothing was happening. Nothing. And then we get these direct players who want to get in behind, want to run at players, and they're doing something with the ball, the link-up play, whereas Gelhardt just doesn't do that at all. And we just looked a miles better team. We don't look toothless. We look dangerous. Burnett looked fantastic when he first came on. He took on his man down the right-hand side, their left, and their left-back as well had a cracker. He was a brilliant player. Rapid as well. Is it Bell? Maybe, I think it is. But he's taken him on, skinned him. First time we'd seen him being skinned down to the byline anyway, and he's whipped it across goal and it didn't come to anything. But Burnett, straight away, he's had a couple of shots from distance, which didn't really trouble the keeper. But we're really getting at them at this point, So because other players now that encroach into the area where Gelhardt would have been, because he's almost like that's his area, designated area, and nothing ever happens in it. It works around his area. But then as soon as Gelhardt comes off, everyone's trying to work it into the centre, and everyone's having a pop, and we look so much better. Again, it sounds like I'm digging Gelhardt out, but it's just a fact. We look so much better when he's off the pitch, and we play like an 11, not a 10. But yeah, eventually, we managed to get the equaliser. And I will say, Luton fans, don't get me wrong. I will say 1,000% it was not a penalty. It was a piss-poor decision from the referee. Absolutely horrendous decision. And we expected this from this referee. He's never refereed in the Championship before. It was his first ever Championship game. And we'd had him before in League One. And he was god-awful then. But yeah, so the ball, it's a little 1-2 for Diallo to get him behind. I think I'm not too sure it is who pulls him down. Well, I say pulls him down. He literally touches his hand a little bit as Diallo's trying to get him behind to receive the ball. And he's just flung himself to the floor, and there's next to no sort of power on the touching of his arm or anything. He's just bought it. So, but it's never a penalty in a million years. It's very, very minimal contact for Diallo to go down. Maybe he did just kind of go down sort of naturally with the movement of the play, but the Luton defender 100% wasn't at fault of that. But the worst thing it was for Luton fans and the Luton team, I guess, is the referee stared at it, didn't give it, and he's right in line, but didn't give it for a while. And he's kind of looked over at his assistant. It looks like they're talking for a little bit, and then he gives the penalty. So yeah, I can empathise with Luton fans because we've had such a streak of shite referees, and it's actually worked out in our favour. So I'm not going to complain too much, but I can completely empathise. Diallo steps up after coming on, and he rifles it home to make it 1-1. And even then, we're throwing the kitchen sink at it, trying to go for the winner, which sadly didn't come. We had scrambles in the box, clearances, goal mouth clearances, and it wasn't to be. So in the end, 1-1, I'll take it. Playoffs for me, I think we just shouldn't talk about that now. If you look at this run of games that we've had, with Norwich, Sheffield United, Luton, basically all teams from around the top 6. Sheffield United being second, Luton were fourth. Really good high caliber teams, and we're playing Burnley next as well after the international break. From those 3 games to take 4 points, I would snap your arm off for that. Considering the form we were going into these games with, I was expecting none personally. But yeah, so I'm happy we come away with a point. You just look at the keepers looking at the season as if it's over now, which I know it isn't. But I look at this team and I just think, had this team had a striker, throughout the season, had Ross Stewart not, it's all if buts maybe, shoulda, woulda, coulda type thing. But if Ross Stewart was fit, or we had another striker, or Sims didn't get called back, or something like that, it just makes you think, yeah, we could have really pushed. But I think we absolutely pissed the January transfer window up the wall, made an absolute hash of it, and it has derailed us a little bit. But yeah, we're in a good position to push on. This team is in a really good position to push on if we manage to keep the core group of players and really add to it in the summer. I think this team, there's definitely a backbone of a side here that can really push next season. But yeah, so that was the game. Happy with the point. Now, the whole Anthony Patterson thing, right? Okay, I'm probably just digging myself a grave here. But Anthony Patterson, right? The only reason I'm bringing this up, because I did put on social media yesterday, I never said he's a bad goalkeeper whatsoever. All it was is I was saying there's it seems to be two different parties with Patterson, and there's very little in between. There seems to be, he's either the second coming of Manuel Neuer, really over the top. He's a finished product, best thing since sliced bread, and then there's another camp that say he's utterly atrocious and he's shite. Now, I'm not in either of those camps. I'm in the middle of, he's a good goalkeeper. I think he's an alright goalkeeper. He's decent, right? I'll give it, he's improved in terms of collecting crosses, his aerial presence. That's come on leaps and bounds, yeah? His shot stopping. I know a lot of people don't like that term, shot stopping, but when I say shot stopping, I mean sort of with one-on-ones. He's great at closing the angles, making himself big and those kind of saves. He's very good at that. Distribution, I think, is very, very low standard. I think it's poor. At Sheffield United, it was shocking. It was just drilling balls down the middle of sort of midriff height, drilling it straight at Sheffield United players. When he's trying to put it out wide, it's missing it. Even just general sort of passes at times, overhitting or underhitting. His distribution is something that needs to be worked on because it is of a low standard, And his positioning at times is also very questionable. So in there, this isn't me saying he's a bad goalkeeper. I just think he has just as many flaws as he does strengths, So I put that online yesterday. God, I shouldn't do it. Because the thing is with Anthony Patterson, right? If you have any opinion of Anthony Patterson that is anything less than the sun shines out of his arsehole, then that makes you a dickhead and you're saying that he's shit. Absolutely not at all. I made a tweet yesterday, like I said, saying it seems to be these two opinions. I'm in the middle, and because these people that think he's this amazing, I think he has been overrated. So which, I tweeted that, and then I woke up this morning at like 6 in the morning at work. I had a shit to the people saying like, "Oh, you're clueless. He's a homegrown lad. He's a local lad. He's only young lad." Whoa, calm down. You're acting like I just said he's shit. I haven't said that at all. And this whole argument of, he's a local lad. Right, okay, that's great. I'm happy he's a local lad. Right? He's a local lad, so he can't make mistakes. That makes no sense. And he said, "Oh, but he's only a young lad." He's 22, or however old he is now. Yeah, he's still a youngish lad, but he's a fully grown adult. He has, and again, I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper at all. That isn't it at all. He has a lot of potential to become an excellent goalkeeper. As of right now, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, and everyone who says he is absolutely outstanding, amazing, and the finished article, and the perfect goalkeeper, they're entitled to their opinion. But I also have mine that he is an alright goalkeeper at the minute. He's a decent keeper. Do you know what I mean? So it's just my frustration that he can't be touched at the moment, when everyone else can. And I get it because he is a local lad that people do get very sensitive over him. When there's people like I say, I don't agree at all with people who say he's absolute shit and he's crap and all this. He's not at all. I don't agree with that. But I feel like the argument back against me just saying he's a decent goalkeeper, is a good goalkeeper with potential, instead of saying he's absolutely outstanding, the argument is you're harsh. You don't know what you're talking about, which I probably don't, but you don't know what you're talking about. He's a local lad and he's only young. What's that got to do with a slice of bread? What's all the price of bread? I'm just chatting shit now. But what's that got to do with out? Do you know what I mean? That's not to do with his ability, because he's from Sunderland, on the North East. Either way, anyway, I'd love to know what your opinions are on it. I just wanted to save that rant for you. Again, I'm not saying he's shit. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper. I think he's good. He's a good goalkeeper. I don't think he's as amazing as some people make out. That's it. But I'll be very, very interested to see what you guys think in the comment. You might agree with me. You might think I'm completely wrong. But just bear in mind, I'm not saying he's shit. But anyway, yeah, so it's a point. It's a point on the board. I'll take it, It's a very good, well-drilled Luton side. I didn't particularly think they were anything special, if I'm honest with you, but you can see they were a well-drilled side. They were there on merit in terms of where they are in the league, so I'll take the point. Anyway, if you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.